Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new lesson for grade 8 in algebra, and the lesson title is The Slope of a Straight Line. Here are the learning outcomes of our lesson today. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to understand the slope of a straight line, understand the rule of the slope, apply the rule of the slope on exercises. First, let's know what is the slope of the straight line. The slope or gradient of a line is a number that describes both the direction and the steepness of the line. Slope يا شباب in Arabic means الميل, or gradient in Arabic means الانحدار. For every straight line in geometry, there is a slope or gradient. And there are two conditions we should know to find the value of the slope of any straight line: the direction and the steepness. Here is the rule of the slope. The slope is the change in y coordinates divided by the change in x coordinates. As we knew in grade 7 that the Cartesian plan in geometry is divided to x-axis and y-axis. Then, to find the slope of any straight line, we should determine the change of y values divided by the change in x values. To be able to calculate the slope of a straight line, we should plot any 2 points on that straight line. For example, here we have 2 points A and B. The coordinates of point A is x1 and y1, and also the coordinate of point B is x2 and y2. Now we can easily determine the slope by finding the difference between the coordinates of the points. Another point we should know that the slope is usually represented by the letter m. Here is the rule of the slope. If we have 2 points on the straight line A and B, and the coordinates of the point A is x1, y1, and the coordinates of B is x2, y2, then the slope of a line is the change in y coordinate divided by the change in x coordinate. In other saying, the vertical change divided by the horizontal change. Here we have the rule of the slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is the y coordinate of the ending point, y1 is the y coordinate of the starting point, x2 is the x coordinate of the ending point, x1 is the x coordinate of the starting point. And as you see in this graph, that the slope of this line is the change in y divided by the change in x. The British and the Egyptian curriculum name this rule as the slope or the gradient, but the American curriculum names it as run and fall. The horizontal change or the x coordinate is called run, and the vertical change or the y coordinate is called rise or fall. We can see here on the graph that the run is the x coordinate and the rise or fall is the y coordinate. The straight line is said to be rising if it is going upwards, and it is said to be falling if it is going downwards. From the definition of the slope, we mentioned that we need 2 conditions to understand the slope: the steepness and the direction. Now let's talk about the direction of the slope. When observing the direction of the line, start from the left and go across the right. Up is positive and down is negative. So if I need to know the direction of this line, I will start from the left hand side and go to the right hand side. I am going downwards, as you see, so the slope here is a negative slope. On the other side, I will start from the left hand side and go to the right hand side on the line like this, and as you see now I'm going upwards, so the slope here is a positive value. As we mentioned before, in the American curriculum, this is called a fall and this is called a rise. Then what about that figure in the middle? As you see, there is no slope here, or in Arabic, مفيش ميل. Then we say that the slope value is 0, because here the rider is neither rising nor falling. He is going steady on a horizontal direction, so the value of the slope here is 0. Now we can apply the direction of the slope on the graph. On the left hand side we have a straight line, and we should now tell if it is a positive direction or a negative direction. We will start by the left hand side and go to the right hand side. We are rising or going upwards, so the direction is a positive direction, or the slope value is positive. On the other side, we will start from the left hand side and go to the right hand side. Here we are going downwards, so the value of the slope here is negative value. Here we have two special conditions for the slope. As we said in the figure of the rider of the bicycle, that he goes in a horizontal way. Here we have a straight line parallel to x-axis. That means that the value of y2 equals the value of y1. In another saying, there is no difference in the y value. What about if the straight line is going in a vertical way, or parallel to the y-axis, or perpendicular to the x-axis? It says if x2 equals x1, here the difference between x2 and x1 is 0. It says if a line is parallel to y-axis, then the slope has to be undefined. We have heard the word undefined before. It means meaningless or has no value, because we said here that x2 equals x1. When we return to the rule of the slope and we put here the same value for x2 and x1, then the difference will be a 0, and any number divisible by 0 is undefined or meaningless. So these are the four cases of the direction of the slope: positive direction, negative direction, the slope here is equal to 0, the slope here is undefined. Now let's apply the rule of the slope in these exercises. Find the slope of the straight line AB in each of the following cases. We have 2 points A and B. A, 2 and negative 1, B, 4 and negative 1. First of all, we will write down the coordinates of the 2 points. A named x1, y1, B named x2, y2. The second step, we will write down the rule of the slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. As easy as it is, we will replace each and every value in this rule by the value given in the example. Finally, we have M equals y2 is negative 1, y1 is also negative 1, x2 is 4, x1 is 2. After calculating this simple operation, we will have the final result is 0 over 2, which means our slope here is 0. And when m equals 0, that means the straight line AB is a horizontal line parallel to x-axis. Another example. We here have A, 3 and negative 1, B, 3 and 2. First of all, yes, we will write down the coordinates of the 2 points. The second step, great, we will write the rule of the slope. The third step, we will replace the values of the coordinates in the rule by the values of the numbers given in the example. By calculating this operation, we will have the final answer as 3 over 0, and anything over 0 or divisible by 0 is undefined. That means that m is undefined, and here the AB straight line is parallel to y-axis or perpendicular to x-axis, or the straight line is going in a vertical direction. This example needs us to find the slope of the straight line AB, where A 4 and 7, B 2 and 1. Here are the 2 points that we will use to calculate the slope. And another question, does the point 3 and 3 belong to AB straight line? Let's first calculate the value of the slope. We will use the 2 points A and B, and as we did in the previous exercises, we will put first the coordinates, then the rule, and the final step we will calculate the slope. Here I named the slope as m1, or the first slope of the straight line. By calculating this operation, we already knew that the slope is positive 3. The second step here, I will use the point 3 and 3, and I named it as point C, with any of the 2 points A or B that already belonging to the straight line. Here we will get one of 2 answers. If the slope of the new straight line AC equals the slope m1 equals 3, then C belongs to the straight line AB. But if the new slope of the straight line AC has a value that is not equal to 3 or not equal to the first slope, then C does not belong to the straight line AB. Let's start by calculating the new slope. I will write the coordinates, write the rule, and then we will calculate here the slope M2 or the new slope of the straight line AC. By calculating this operation, we have that M2 equals 4. Here, M1 does not equal M2. So we can say, since M1 does not equal M2, therefore the point 3 and 3 does not belong to AB straight line. Now let's summarize or sum up our lesson objectives. Today we understand the slope of a straight line, we understand the rule of the slope, and we apply the rule of the slope on exercises. By the end of the lesson, I thank you all for watching this video and wish you all safe and sound, and see you in another videos inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.